So this is 4 layers of fabric being woven at once. Therefore, even though the loom is only 2 feet wide, or 3 feet once you account for the actual loom, this piece of fabric will be about 8 feet wide when it comes off the loom. The first, the fabric zigzags back and forth. So top layer goes along there, and then the next layer down comes back. I can stick my hand in between. And then there's a fold at this side, which you may or may not be able to see. And the next layer comes back this way, and the final layer ends over here. There's a layer in between them there. At the other end, I have that sort of middle fold. And so the top layer of fabric is threaded on shafts 1 and 5. I can lift it entirely up out of the way like this. I always want to be able to lift half the threads at a time, because the yarn needs to go under half the threads and over the other half of the threads. That's what weaving is. So I'm able to choose which of those shafts I want to raise. And the next layer down of fabric is threaded on shafts 2 and 6, which will be those 2 treadles. So I lift the top, I'm raised shafts 1 and 5 so that this top layer of fabric is entirely out of the way. And now I can choose which of shafts 2 and 6 I want raised and lowered, so that the yarn alternates between those threads. It won't weave the threads that are on shafts 1 and 5. It's not doing an over-under pattern with them. It's just entirely under. It's like having a piece of thread that's just like that. It's not part of the cloth. So I can choose which of those second layer shafts I want. And then for the next layer down, we have raised shafts 1, 2, 5, 6 out of the way. And the next layer is on shafts 3 and 7. That's a 3, that's a 7, there we go. So as usual, I can choose which of those 2. And last of all, we have shafts 4 and 8. Everyone else has to be raised for me to deal with those shafts, which makes them not behave quite as neatly as the rest of them. I spend a lot of time encouraging these shafts to be in the right place, but I can still choose which of them is raised and lowered, and everyone else is just stacked up here, well away from the rest of the weaving going on in the bottom layer. So in practice, if any of that has made sense, I raise shaft 1, I throw the shuttle through, I raise the top layer entirely, and I raise shaft 2. This is for the second layer. Throw the shuttle through. And I raise the first and second layers out of the way. And I've raised shaft 3 to weave the third layer. And now I raise layers 1, 2, and 3 all out of the way, and I raise shaft 4 to weave the last layer. This is the uncooperative layer. I have to spend a little bit of time making sure that these top and bottom yarns haven't stuck to each other, and making sure that the shuttle is going to go through the shed, that vertical space, neatly. Sometimes I manage, sometimes I have to pick the shuttle up off the floor where it's just dropped down through the bottom of all of the threads. So we've done one throw of the shuttle for each layer, and now we're going to work back up from the bottom. So I'm still on the 4th layer, but now I've raised shaft 8 instead. And I throw the shuttle through. I let that go down. And I'm now in the 3rd layer. Top 2 layers are raised out of the way. The other shaft of the 3rd layer is raised and active. And we let the 3rd layer drop, and we let shaft 2 drop. So we're now in the 2nd layer with shaft 6 raised. And last of all, we have just lonely little shaft 5. for the second pick of the top layer. And away we go again. And I'm just doing this for meters of cloth. That was unsticking some yarns that had stuck to each other. I just give them a little poke with my finger, and that sometimes is enough. In this case, there's quite a few threads that have stuck to each other, so I go in from the side with a big wooden stick. We're working our way back up. I'm always trying to be quite gentle and careful with the edges of the cloth, because I want them to have the right tension that when the whole thing is unfolded, in theory, you wouldn't be able to see where that fold line was. In practice, while I've been talking on earlier takes, I've had some bits here which are quite close together, where it's gone too tight at the edge, and some bits where it's gone too loose, but it'll be okay. As far as I know, I haven't made any mistakes where I've accidentally crossed over the yarns in between the layers, which would mean it wouldn't unfold at all. I would have to cut those if I did. I haven't yet discovered any, but I won't really know until the cloth comes off the loom.